guys. Okay, so I just tried to film this and it was way too long. It was 25 minutes, so I'm going to try to make it quicker. This is going to be a pretty big haul. I got all of these things over the last, like, month and a half or so. It's much more than I normally do for hauls, unless it's, like, a library haul, but I figure, like, if I haven't splurged, well, I do splurge every now and then, but anyway, this is just a bigger splurge than usual, and it was pretty accidental. I went to a used bookstore and I got all those books for free because I gave them books, they gave me credit, and then I got books from there. And then also I went to a bunch of different Barnes & Nobles this month that I don't normally get to go to, and they ended up having books and other things that I don't have in the bookstores or the Barnes & Nobles in my hometown. So I splurged. It was like a, what's it called, spur of the moment splurge for most of these. Some of them not, but most of them yes. So anyway, and the first things that I want to show you are the pop dolls that I got. One of them I actually did get from my Barnes & Noble, but, sorry, it fell down. But he was the last one that they had left, and that was my Harry Potter pop doll. Here he is. Isn't he adorable? Oh, he's so cute. So yes, this is Harry Potter from Harry Potter, and he even has the Gryffindor colored tie. And then, wow, okay. Sorry, that was very, and then I got 10th Doctor. This is David Tennant, 10th Doctor from Doctor Who. And he was not in my stores. I found him in a store when I was out of town, and I was like, well, they don't have this in mine at home, so I'm gonna grab you. And I don't know if you guys know this, because I don't know, I hope I talk about Doctor Who on here, but in case I don't, I love Doctor Who, like, a lot. And 10 was my first Doctor, technically, and yeah, so he is my favorite, and I love him. And that's what he looks like, and he's even got the little sonic screwdriver, and they got his hair right, and they got this, the shoes right, which I thought was cool. So, yep. And then I got Captain Mal. This is Captain Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly, and he's adorable, and I've wanted him for a really long time, and he hasn't been in any of the stores that I've been in. And my friend Jenny actually has one of him, and every time I talk to her on Skype, I can see him in the background, and I'm like, you're taunting me, aren't you? But yes, love him. And then, last but certainly not least, Wally. And this is Wally from Disney, in case you guys didn't know. And, yeah, he is adorable, and I love him, and he's been on my list to get forever, but I've only ever seen him online. And the one that I went in where I found Captain Mal and Wally, I had to restrain myself not to get like 5 or 6 of them, because they had so many that I didn't have at my store at home. So then I was like, okay, just get 2, and then buy the rest online or something, like when Christmas comes around. So, yep. So I now have 6. I have, like, the other 2 that I have that you guys know about are Khal Drogo and Khaleesi, or Daenerys Targaryen. And yeah, so I guess, yeah, 6 is my collection now. And I'm also going to get 3 more because my friend Ben got me Deathstroke and Arrow with the Mask and Oliver Queen, all from the show Arrow, because none of those were in my store. So he saw them at his store and grabbed them for me, which is great because he gets 30% off. So I'm like, yay! And yeah, I'll be getting those from him soon. And then also, next on my list is the rest of the Harry Potter ones, except for Voldemort, and also all of Once Upon a Time, but I will be slow collecting both of those sets. But the first one that I want from Once Upon a Time is Rumpelstiltskin, because Rumpelstiltskin. Yep. And then I have some books that I got, a bunch of books that I got, but I want to show you guys the ones that I am excited about, but not as excited as the other ones. So, where'd they go? Oh, I kind of just stacked them all up together, so I guess I will show them to you like that. The first one that I got is Lysistrata by Aristophanes, and I was so excited to find this because I've been looking for this book for something like 3 or 4 years, and no, I never ordered it online. I don't really know why, but I was determined to find it in a store for some reason, and I found it in one of the Barnes & Nobles that I went in. And the odd thing is, the Barnes & Noble that I found this in wasn't affiliated with a university, and 2 of the Barnes & Nobles that I looked in that were affiliated with universities or colleges didn't have it, which I thought was so weird because I'm pretty sure this is a thing that people study if they take theater or Greek history or anything like that. Because, I mean, my history professor talked about this in my class, even though we didn't read it, he did talk about it, and he was the first person that, like, put that in my head that I needed to read it. And then I think it was Jean from Bookish Thoughts talked about this, and I automatically knew I needed to read it because this is, I think this is how she described it, and if I'm wrong, Jean, I'm sorry, but it's basically about these women who decide that they do not want their men going to war anymore, so they decide to withhold sex from them, and they say, we are not going to have sex with you guys until you promise us you will not go to war anymore and you will stay home. And I just think that's hilarious and, like, such a powerful tool, I guess. So yeah, very excited about this. And then this one I just got today, so I'm super stoked about this. This is Death of a Gossip, which is the first Hamish Macbeth mystery by M.C. Beaton, and a few months ago, I guess it was just like 2 months ago, I marathoned the Hamish Macbeth TV show because I love Robert Carlyle with pretty much every fiber of my being. He's amazing. I love him with my whole heart. And so I started watching the show and I completely fell in love with it. Even though it's really weird because it, like, starts out as a legit mystery and then it kind of goes into a drama, and then the last 2 episodes that are the finale turn it into this, like, paranormal fantasy supernatural mystery thing, which is just great. So I loved every second of it. And yeah, so I'm very excited to read the book. I actually had to order it online because I couldn't find it in any of the Barnes & Nobles that I looked in. They had most of the other ones, but none of them had the first one, which I thought was really weird. But maybe this one is harder, like maybe it's out of print or something, I don't really know. Amazon had it pretty easily, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited to read this. I've heard that the show and the book are quite different, or at least, oh, just hit myself, but anyway, I've heard that they're quite different in the sense that the character of Hamish is different. In this, he's apparently like a really laid-back, super tall Highlander, and in the show, Robert Carlyle isn't very tall. He's Glaswegian, and his character has, like, sort of the weight of the world on his shoulders. But I mean, I love this show, so hopefully I also love this. Like, hopefully, even though the characters are so different, I can still love both of them. Yeah, so this will be for Halloween, because it's a mystery, so obviously I have to do that. And yeah, I'll let you guys know what I think. And then I got The Truth by Terry Pratchett, which is it's either the 21st or the 26th Discworld novel, I can't remember which. It either comes right after Hogfather or right after Thief of Time, which are both death novels. And this is a standalone, and it is about the first newspaper in Ankh-Morpork. Maybe even the first newspaper on the Discworld, I'm not really sure. But I'm very excited about this one. And the reason why I got such a later Discworld novel when I'm only on the 5th book is because my library did not have this, and I already requested that they get 2 of the Discworld novels that I didn't own, that they also didn't have in their stock, and I felt really bad about that. Like, I didn't really want to ask them to order another one because they were so sweet about ordering the first 2. So yeah, I saw this and I got it. And also, I really wanted this specific edition because the new ones that they're making are like, they're tall and thin and they're $2 more than these, and they don't have a glossy cover. And like, I tried flipping through one and it feels like you're reading a really thick bound up pamphlet instead of a book. So every time I see these fat little paperbacks that I miss so much, I grab them if I know that it's one that my library doesn't have, just because I think that's so silly what they've started doing now with reproducing these. So yeah. And then I got Neverwinter by Neil Gaiman. This is the author's preferred text. I've already read Neverwinter. I read it on I have the ebook edition, and I listened to it on YouTube while I read it on my ebook. On my tablet as an ebook. But I saw this and I was so excited for it because it's the first time that the preferred text has been released in the States, so obviously I needed this, and I love that it's hardcover because the picture is just gorgeous and it has deckled edges, and then on the inside it has a silver embossed door as well as his initials over top, and then the London Underground is on the end papers, and then it's on the end papers again. And this also includes How the Marquis Got His Coat Back, which was a short story that Neil Gaiman wrote a few years ago that was published in Rogues, that is a short story collection edited by George R. R. Martin. And I started to read it in that, but then of course I waited too long and I had to return it to the library. So I was very excited that it's included in this so I could take my time with it. And I'm definitely going to read this like probably next year because I'm very eager, since I've already read the original, to see what the differences are between the original and the author's preferred text, like what he had to take out or change that he didn't like, so then he put it back into this one. I'm really eager to see that, so yeah, love this. And then I got these two, which are Chronicles of Chrestomanci Volume 1 and Chronicles of Chrestomanci Volume 2, both by Diana Wynne Jones. I've been looking for these books for years. I saw them in my college library when I was a freshman or a sophomore, and for some reason in my brain I was like, oh, well, if they're here, then they'll probably obviously be in bookstores, so I'll get around to them eventually. Every time I have looked in a Barnes & Noble since then, they have not had these, and I don't know why. They have Howl's Moving Castle, they have individual books that are like some of the individual ones in these, but never these bind-ups, so I was really sad about that. And I also, for some reason, couldn't find them in used bookstores, so when I saw these in my used bookstore the other day, I snatched them up in a second. And the great part is, this is in pretty perfect condition still. Like, the spine isn't broken. What I think must have happened is they must have read the first one and not really enjoyed it, so then they bought the first two together and just gave this one away without reading it. But I am so excited for these because I've wanted to read these forever. And I think this is going to sound really cheesy, but one of the main reasons why I wanted to read these when I saw them in my college is because of the covers. The covers are just so interesting to me and really beautiful. So yeah, excited to get around to these. And then I got Out of Oz by Gregory Maguire, which is the fourth and final book in the Wicked years, and I have been looking for this used for a very long time because I couldn't bring myself to pay full price for this book because I hadn't, like, I've only read the first one, I've only read Wicked, and I need to reread Wicked before I continue on with the series, but since I hadn't yet continued with it, I couldn't bring myself to pay full price, so I was very excited to finally find this in the used bookstore where I didn't have to pay anything for it. And yes, they're all different editions that I own, but I do not care because I think they are all beautiful, even though they do not match, so that's cool. I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. There's hammering next door. And then are these the last two? Oh, no, they're not. Okay, I'll show you guys these last. Then I got Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco, which is a mystery historical fiction. And I've wanted to read this for a while, or it's been on my radar for a while, because people say that this is his most famous work, and basically every person I know that reads historical fiction and likes history has read this and liked it, so I don't know why it's taken me so long, especially because I didn't know it was a mystery, and when I found that out, I was like, oh my gosh, it's 2 reasons for me to love it. And this was a gorgeous edition, and I just found it in the used bookstore, so I grabbed it while I could, and it's in really good condition for being from the 80s, so I was very excited about this. I probably have said that a lot, but I just love all of these. And then I got a few Agatha Christie. I got Halloween Party and At Bertram's Hotel. This one is a Poirot, and this one is a Miss Marple. These are kind of older editions, but they were both in really good condition. And also for this one, this is my favorite of the TV adaptations that I've seen of Miss Marple. So hopefully I will love the book as much as I love the TV episode. And then I got some Shakespeare's, some Folger Shakespeare's. This one I got in Barnes & Noble. I found it in one of the out-of-town Barnes & Nobles. It is The Merry Wives of Windsor. And I love finding his comedies in the Folger editions because I love the Folger editions and I love his comedies. And this one is one that I haven't been able to find in either of my Barnes & Nobles in my town. So I was very excited to find this when I was out of town. Had to scoop it up. And then this one I found in the used bookstore. This is Love, Slavers, Lost. Again, it's a comedy in a Folger edition, so I was very excited about that. And also, the cool thing about this is that I just started watching Lovely Little Losers, which is a web series that is a spin-off web series from Nothing Much to Do that's based on Much Ado About Nothing. And Lovely Little Losers is based on Love, Slavers, Lost, which I should have figured out from the 3L title, but I didn't, of course. And when I found that out, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to read this play. So yeah, I saw this in there and I figured I would pick it up. And the other cool thing that I like about it is that it is an old school Folger. These are the ones that I used to read in high school. Like I think when we read Julius Caesar, we read this edition. But yeah, I just think the color is really pretty, and I really love the picture on the front, and I still think it'll look cool next to my other Folgers. And last but not least are 2 things I got from Book Depository, and I cannot tell you how excited I am about these. The first is Dan Stevens, well, it's not Dan Stevens, it's The Happy Reader, which is a new literary magazine that just started coming out last fall, and this was the first issue. And what they do is they interview a actor or a famous person, and then half of the magazine is them talking to and interviewing this person, talking about books and their favorite books and things like that. And then the other half is talking about a classic or a famous work. And with this one, it was Dan Stevens is the actor who they speak to, and here's some of that, some of his part of the magazine. Oh, I'm sorry, the lines are coming. And then, sorry, I'm having to flip through it to find the right pages. And then the last part of his part of it is he talks about his winter reads list, which I think are his favorite books to read in the winter. And then the second half of the magazine is the famous work, and this is The Woman in White that they're talking about. And it has been on my classics list to read forever. I've owned it for years because I love the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical, so I decided to read that for Halloween and then read this straight following it. So yeah, that'll be fun. I'll have 2 good mysteries to read at Halloween, and probably several more that you'll see in my TBR pile for that. And then the last, but the best, is A Portable Shelter by Kirstie Logan. I found out about this through Jen Campbell. She loves Kirstie Logan because of The Grace Keepers, and I don't know if she got an advance copy of this and read it, or if she ordered it and just read it really fast. But basically, this is a series of short stories / fairy tales that all tie in together with the bigger story. And the bigger story is, it is about a lesbian couple who live in Scotland by, I think they live in a little cottage by the sea, which already I was like, oh, cottage by the sea in Scotland, yay. And then one of them, Ruth, is pregnant with their first child. And they decide that they only want to tell the baby the truth. They want to talk to the baby while the baby is still in the womb, but they only want to tell the baby the truth, and they only want to tell the baby the truth through its entire life. I don't remember if they say if it's a daughter or a son, but anyway, they only want to tell the baby the truth. But then they also both love fairy tales. So, for some reason they make this pact with each other to only tell the baby the truth, but then they secretly both tell the baby fairy tales. Ruth tells her fairy tales while Liska is out grocery shopping or at work. And then Liska tells the baby her fairy tales when Ruth is asleep, which I think is really cute, but also very odd, because how would Ruth not hear Liska, like, talking to her stomach while she's sleeping? I don't know, but anyway, it just sounds adorable and really cute and sweet, and it has fairy tales about werewolves, and I think something about toothless dragons and haunted castles and so much more. So I am just so excited about this, and this edition is gorgeous. Jen said that there were only 1,000 copies of the hardcover made, so I immediately pre-ordered it because there were only something like 200 left, and so I pre-ordered it, and I'm so glad I did. And if this sounds really interesting and you're sad that you couldn't get it, it's okay, because the paperback is coming out next year. And also, Jean from Bookish Thoughts had a good thought where she said probably some bookstores pre-ordered the hardcover, so they probably have the hardcover in some of the bookshops over there, which is, you know, London, UK, maybe Scotland, I'm not really sure. Probably Scotland, because it's set in Scotland, so it should be. But anyway, yeah, I'm super excited for this one. And I'm really sorry, you guys, because it turns out this video was only 2 minutes shorter than I made it last time, so hopefully it will upload. Otherwise, I will have to make, I will have to split it into 2 videos, which is what happened originally, so I don't know, we'll see. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry this was so long. I hope you guys got a snack or a cup of tea or something while you were listening to me. And I will link Jen's channel down below, and also Jean's while I'm at it, because I did mention her and she's great. And thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have read any of these, if you love them, if you hated them. No spoilers though, if you will. And thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.